Ah, Sophie, just the mort I was hoping to see. We've some nasty trouble brewing. The client's on his way, so sit tight and pay attention. And call an Underfoot and the Stray on this one as well. It'll be a right little rogue family reunion. Jack, the client's arrived. Our guest here has come from the Maelstrom Command, with confidential orders directed from the Admiral herself, so you know this won't be a simple job. I'm afraid your Grandmaster speaks truly. 'Twas several days ago when an emaciated man stumbled into... What is that word? I don't know. They're not making words up on that one, I just don't actually know what it is. When an emaciated man stumbled into one of our camps seeking aid. Upon questioning the poor fellow, we discovered that he had narrowly escaped a life of slavery. He claimed that pirates had raided his village, abducted him and many others to sell on a black market auction block. We dispatched a patrol to confirm the tale, and found the village almost completely destroyed. 'Twas a meager settlement without so much as a guardhouse. Thus did its unkind fate escape our notice until now. You'd think these pirates had never even heard of the code. Pillaging honest coals and dipping their wicks in the slave trade, they're headed the right way for a good stabbing. Aye, though it ain't set down in so much wids, the code's notoriously unforgiving against those as raise weapons against the weak. After all, the first pirates in these parts were coals, while were fleeing oppression in the northern seas. Ignore your history, and you risk becoming what it was you hated most. So, give a mark for us then? That we do. From the descriptions given to us by the escaped villager, we've determined that these lawbreakers are members of the Jolly Merchants, a pirate crew in possession of an official privateering license. It would appear, however, that privateering has been naught but a screen behind which to hide their illicit activities. One can only imagine how many other Limnensian citizens have fallen prey to these wicked slavers. And we've let it happen right under our very noses. Naturally, the Admiral desires a swift resolution to this ignominy, but merely tracking down those poor souls who have already been sold is proving heavily taxing to our allocated resources. We could throw more soldiers at the problem, but that runs the risk of drawing the small folks' attention and inciting undue panic. Thus do we come to the Rogues Guild for help. We ask that you eliminate the Jolly Merchants and liberate the villagers presently in their custody, and that you do so with the utmost discretion. Consider it done. When those nasty coves will feel our short blades pricking in their backs, they'll enjoy but a brief moment of regret before the code is rightly enforced. Alright, so let's get to work. I'll be going after the Jolly Merchants himself. Underfoot, McKeb, you two lend your skills to the Maelstrom's investigation and see what you can whittle about the coals what already been sold. Sophie, you're coming with me. I think you're ready for the next step of your education. Shall we get after these slave and cutthroats then? Our client tells me that the Jolly Merchant set sail from L-Port a few bells ago. Oh, aye, they might even board an Imperial ship or two, but that's just some mummery they're putting on to amuse the Admiral's swads. I reckon the rest of the crew would be back on land looking to snap the shackles on a fresh herd of cattle. And just to prove me theory right, one of them jolly bastards got himself spotted creeping about the Ruffmans in Lower Lenosha. There's a Benny Cove over at the Moraby Dry Docks by the name of Swersant that'll know the full story. He's more of a shipwright than a rogue these days, but he keeps his gazes keen for the guild. Head over and have yourself a prattle, and I'll join you soon like. Morby Dry Docks, here we go. I know what you are. What can an old Swarsant do for you? Hunting down jolly merchant slavers. Ah, well, that explains a few things. I was keeping an eye on a bustle about the dry docks, you see, when I spied an odd trio off in the distance. This rough-looking sod, one of your pirates, I'd wager, was prodding along another bloke and his poor skinny lass. I've seen whipped curs less miserable than the two being herded. Last I saw, they were headed south. If what you're saying about this slavery business is true, then that jolly merchant's not going to walk his charges all the way to the market. No, he likely has a boat waiting for him. And if I were a slaver headed south, my vessel would be hidden somewhere along the salt strand. That doesn't leave you much time. You said Jack was on his way, yes? You'd best go on ahead, and I'll point him in the right direction when he gets here. I do like limbs areas, though. They look really nice. Warsant came through for us, eh? Now, what do we got here? This one looks a charmer. Sodden move, I told you. Me peg-leg grandma ovals quicker than you miserable sacks of shite. Or mayhap you need another thrashing. Is that it? You already forgot what happens when you try me generous patience? I'm sorry. Please, no more beatings. We walked as fast as we could, but we need food and water. Then get in the boat and shut your traps. You'll get fed when we reach the other side. The other side? Where are you taking us? Are you challenging me or just plain daft? I told you to keep your bleating mouth shut. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Leviathan, scaly arse, she's weeping again. Listen, we're headed to Elport, alright? That's where me and the shipmates gather to take stock of the merchandise and decide what gets sold where. You see, some buyers want only lads, while others is looking for lasses. As long as we keep the rich bastards happy, we make more coin than we ever did scrapping with the Empire's war galleys. Not that you care about that, I suppose. What matters to you is that you'll be loaded onto the Jolly Merchantman and sailed off to God's know where, and Limsa will be a distant memory. So if I was you, I'd fill that empty belly with one last big gobbleful of sweet Lenotian sea breeze. Yeah. I'm sore tempted to put a blade twixt his eyes here and now, but that won't get the job done. No, we'll let him guide us to his mates in Elport, then we'll mill the whole bloody lot of them. The jolly merchants will get their due, don't you worry about that. Oop, sorry. We'd best hurry to Elport, unless we've got a quicker way. There's a ferry what leaves for Candlekeep Quay. I'll meet you across the water, lass. Sophie, that jolly merchant's cove still with his captives. Seems they've taken a room under an alias. Hiding their operation in plain sight. Bold as brass, but it's an old slaver's trick. See, even if some cull recognizes the merchandise, only a single handler gets boned. The rest of the crew just whistles all innocent-like while their mate is marched off to the Crockles. I guess that's jail. And you can bet they'll threaten bloody murder for any prisoner what raises an hue and cry. Patience now, lass. We'll just wait until we're sure that all these blackguards have arrived. Meanwhile, you'd better sharpen your stabbers. We have a busy night ahead of us, and lots of people to kill. That's what I'm talking about. Ready for the job, then? Once the jolly merchants are all here, we'll ambush the sods and set their captives free. That ought to be long enough. We'll just have to hope there ain't any stragglers. Listen closely now, lass. The merchants are disguised as plain old adventurers, and have settled themselves in 3 separate rooms here in Elport. How do we whittle which coves are the merchants? Easy. Take a look at the doddles of that bingo swilling coal over yonder. He's wearing lavender gloves. The exact same type what that nasty sod at the salt strand had on. That'll be how they'll find each other in a crowd. Of course, it's also how I whittled where each of the bastards was staying. Just snitch the hopeless gazes of the company they keep, and you can be sure you found your mark. So here's the job all laid out for you. We hit all 3 common rooms, mill the merchants quick and dirty like, and get those captives their bleeding lives back. Alright? Oi, the storeroom door's been forced open. Some thieving sod's been at the ale. Well, you can't have gotten far. Better get the lads and do a sweep of the port. Ugh, was that merchant cove gulping pilfered ale? You'd think they'd be doing their best not to draw attention to themselves, all things considered. Bloody oafs. And now we got a swarm of yellow jackets buzzing about, looking for blood. They spot us wandering around the Darkmans. I've a feeling they'll axe first and ask questions later. It'd be best then if the patrols never even knew we was here. We'll slip as sneaky as we can into each of the common rooms and use them telltale lavender gloves to identify our marks. There's innocent coals in there as well, mind, so let's try not to stab any as don't deserve it, eh? I'm thinking we should head out one at a time to better avoid them yellow jackets. So I'll let you take the lead. After you, Sophie. Sure, let me do it first. I'll go first because I'm the rookie. And I'll show you how it's done, Jack. Me being the rookie and all. You'd think that we'd have me go second. I'm just gonna go get it all done before you can even start, Jack. That's what I'm gonna do. Pretty soon they'll start calling me the leader of the Rogues Guild. And then I'll have all the waddles on me. Pilfing coves and stabbing them morts with breaking the code stuff. Things and words. I'm a little bothered that the first 2 captives we found are both Lalafels. Like, what nasty person's in the market for Lalafels? It makes me uncomfortable to think about. Must be in this back room back here. Yep. Ah, this is the guy that needed to die. That looks to be the last of them, and you didn't even need my help. I told you, Jack, I'm in charge now. Back in the shadows, lass. Hands off the merchandise. Ain't no one cuts into our profits. God, where'd these coves come from? Get to stabbing. Okay, I'll stab a Picadum real good. Dang, that's a lot of coves. I like how the adventurers are cheering me on. Not a bad night's work, eh, Sophie? The Maelstrom will be taking care of them poor coals we freed, and I've made sure none of them merchants we downed are like to get up again. As for the Jolly Merchant Man, well, her crew can expect a visit from the Admiral's finest galleys, and it won't be for tea and crumpets on the poop deck. Right. Wait. Why would you have tea and crumpets on a place called the poop deck? I know that's not what a poop deck is, but come on, it's still called the poop deck. I'm not going to eat tea and drink crumpets on a poop deck. Come on. Right. Natty lass. I still like nasty lass better. Our part in this is done. Time to head back to the sisters. Excuse me, are you the ones who freed us? No, Jack actually had nothing to do with it. I did all the work. You should be talking to me. Aye? Was there something else we could do for you, miss? The Maelstrom Swads will take you home, if that's what you're worried about. Oh no, I know. I just wanted to thank you. If I may, there was one other thing I wish to tell you. Moments before you rescued me, that dreadful pirate was muttering into his cups. 'Twas something about another raiding party that hadn't yet made it back. I beg your pardon? It seems they'd been hunting for slaves in western Lenosha, and being so close to Elport, our captor assumed they were out rounding up chattel until the last bell. I just couldn't bear the thought of anyone else suffering as I have. Please, is there naught you can do? There certainly is, miss. You just get yourself safely home and leave this stray pack of jackals to us. I will pray for your success. Thank you again. Heh. So much for sabering a victory pint. I'll send word of this development to Underfoot and the Stray. We've some well-earned trade for the last of these jolly merchants. By the by, how's your throwing arm, Sophie? I think it's time I learned you how to fling a proper blade. When you're out in the wild with ruffians, you often find the need to sting a cove from a distance. And I'm sure you're a canny lass like yourself, figure all sorts of uses for well-thrown dagger. Just keep it in mind for when we hunt down the rest of them slavers. Those last few jolly merchant bastards must be camped out somewhere in western Lenosha. Now, if I was a black-hooded, gill-grubbing slaver, where would I be hiding? There's not to the west but the Shahagan pools. Even those bollocks for brains pirates know better than to trespass on fishback territory. And they won't want to chance running into patrols near Elport, so that just leaves us east. The block? Aye, they'll likely be nesting down in the ruins out there amongst the dodos. That's where we'll try to pick up their trail. You head on over and snilch the place, while I send word to the sisters in the Maelstrom. Alright, Jack, I'm on it. I got this. Let's go! Rogue Captain Sophie Hiscaris is on the move again. I promoted myself because I did all the work. I'm a bonny lass, you see. What be pilfering and stabbing? Yeah! Ew, this one's tricky because there's like baddies all around. I think we got this though. Thank you for freeing us. We've been tied up here since those awful pirates snatched us from our beds. Those are some interesting looking dodos you got there, Sophie. No sign of the merchants though, eh? Their leader mentioned heading over to Elport. He said something about there being no signal, and that was a signal that something was wrong. They just left us hobbled here like lambs to the market. One of them japed about keeping the meat unsullied in case there was trouble. Pray, let us flee this place before they return. And who are you to just sidle in and set loose our R1 prizes, hmm? 'Twas the damnedest thing. We'd half a crew lodging in Elport, and not a one of 'em survived the night. Done in by a couple of sneaky curs what favored the short blades, they say. I'm supposing that was you two. Seems we've got a bone to pick with our choice of trade. I can't say as much as I've used for slavers, except as a place to bury me knives. Oh, and I wouldn't bother yourself with waiting on your ship to come back neither. The jolly merchants are done for. You might have the right of it, lad. But then you wouldn't know the kind of coin 3 healthy slaves like them ones will bring us. I'll have a new ship and a new crew before the single moon is past. Hear that, chattel? You're each worth a shining bloody fortune, and you've me to thank for helping you learn your true worth. Ignore this bleating sod. In fact, why don't we step back a ways? Or why don't you step back a ways? These coves are about to learn the consequences of breaking the code, and the discussion it's like to get messy. Did you not think we'd come for you? You can try to stifle your victim's screams in the Darkmans, but the shadows are always listening. I'm not going to even waste any time. I'm going right for the caster looking thing. Nuh-uh, you brought birds to a pirate fight? That isn't even fair. These dodos had nothing to do with breaking the code. Dirty cheaters, making me go afoul on my foul killing spree. Where'd they get all these birds from? There's more! Where are these birds coming from? Dang it! Maybe instead of selling slaves, you should be talking about selling all these giant dodos you have. They may not be worth as much, but they're not illegal, and you have a ton of them. You wouldn't go to jail or get killed. That's just good business practices, in my opinion. Underfoot is here to get underfoot. You're kind of late. Or at least I would if any bugger was left standing. There's a fine pile of corns there's not for us to do. No scraps for latecomers. The last of me had a hunger. Don't worry, Captain Soapy's on the job. Thank you. I shudder to think what horrid fate awaited us had you not helped us to escape. I knew someone would come. You're just like the heroes in the stories. They always arrive at the perfect time and triumph over the villains. Do you think I could be a hero like you? I know I could be brave and strong too. I just know it. Hi. You don't want to be like me, lad. Listen now, me and those coves there, we're the ones what the scary folk are afraid of. And that's because we keep the rules of, for the world they live in. We don't much care if you shirk your chores or get into fights. But if you ever break the code and betray your mates, then that's when we'll come after you, no matter how far you run or how well you hide. Live your life like the hero you want to be, though, and you'll never need to worry about that. You two can stubble it and all. I guess I mean shut it. I assume you are the citizens who were abducted by the Jolly Merchants? I am Captain Malala of the Yellow Jackets. Maelstrom Command has entrusted me with conducting you to safety. Is conducting really the right verb there? I don't know. It's all right, lad. These folks will take care of you. Go on. You best not get left behind. Was there aught else, Captain? Word on a new job? A job? From me? For you? How patently absurd! Why, I'd rather hire a sewer rat to mind my larder. Was it during one of your jobs that you turned Elport into a slaughterhouse? What dark age is this that we must employ assassins to enforce the law? It is this continued dalliance with underworld miscreants such as you that prevents Limsa Lominsa from ever fully expunging the stain of piratical infection. Look at those weapons you bear. A civilized person uses such implements to carve meat or peel fruit, and leaves them at the table where they belong. Do you perhaps clench them twixt your teeth as you swing over rails like the pirates you hunt? Our fair city has no place for those who refuse to abandon their brutish ways of the past. The only champions of justice this nation requires are the valiant and forthright soldiers of the Yellow Jackets. Jack, what the bloody hell does this Cole want with us? I've not the foggiest idea, love. Just smile and nod. I've not come here to be patronized. I've come to put the decisive end to piracy in all its forms. Consider this visit a gauntlet thrown down at the collective feet of the Rogues Guild. Heed well my words. Just before dawn this very morn, a maelstrom vessel stocked with provisions was boarded and looted by pirates. Much of the cargo was stolen, and that is vexing indeed. But it is the theft of 3 items in particular, 3 unique treasures of nigh incalculable worth, the most distresses my martial colleagues. As for the brigands, they made well their escape, disappearing into the dawn's mist along with their precious plunder. A rum tale? What's it to do with us? I challenge you. A contest to reclaim those stolen treasures. Should my yellow jackets and I succeed in retrieving the greater share, I shall formally propose the abolition of the Rogues Guild. Upon review of our achievements, the Admiral will surely concede that your unscrupulous institution has outlived its usefulness. Blow it out your waddle. But wait, waddle's I don't get it. I've better ways to spend me time. Oh, do you now? This institute constitutes a theft against the nation of Limsa. Does that not violate your beloved code? If I'm not mistaken, you've no choice but to rise to the occasion. Unless, of course, you mean to slink back into your hole and abandon the fundamental precepts of your duty. All right, you screeching shrew. You've made your bloody point, and you'll be sorry that you did, I promise you that. Your paltry promises amount to naught in the face of my conviction. I shall not rest until Limsa is free of every last buccaneer, scoundrel, and shadow-dwelling ne'er-do-well. Then I'm going after Batman. What now, Jack? For right now, we head back to the sisters.
I'm trying to fix this, but